Well, a rocket tested at the SpaceX facility in McGregor will launch from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida tomorrow. When it does, it will carry a special tribute to the son of McGregor's mayor, Rhett, who died in an ATV accident in 2015. Julie Hayes traveled with the Herring family to Florida and joins us now live from the Kennedy Space Center with more. Julie, how you doing out there tonight?
Hey, Keisha, actually, it's a very nice night out here. It's just before midnight here at Cape Canaveral. I'm about to show you something that very few people get the opportunity to stand close to and see, certainly just hours out to a launch. If you look right behind me, right over my shoulder right here, this is a historic Pad 39A. You've probably heard of it before. Keisha, this is the launch pad that sent the first man to the moon. Pretty amazing. What you can see right there is the actual rocket. This is the Falcon 9 rocket that is tested at the McGregor facility. In fact, all of the rockets that have been launched from this location right here so far have been tested at the McGregor facility. So if you've felt those rumbles, if you've heard the sounds in McGregor and you're wondering, hey, what the heck is going on? Why are they doing that? This is exactly why they're doing that, for a launch like this. So right now, as you can see, that rocket, which might look sort of small right now, it's actually 15 stories, and it's carrying 6,400 pounds of cargo, including research, food, all sorts of stuff that is going to dock with the International Space Station. And Keisha, in just over an hour, they're going to get this rocket upright. It will be sitting vertical in the position, of course, we all see right before those rocket launches. Right now, you can hear the beeping sounds over there. If you look really closely, you can see that there are people working at this hour. Up until the moment that they put this rocket upright and get ready to launch it, they're still loading materials that are going to head to the International Space Station. And Keisha, as you mentioned at the top of the broadcast, this rocket is carrying a very special message for a very special teenager from the Central Texas area. Jimmy Herring is the McGregor mayor. He is the one who has led that city in all these times that SpaceX has been there. In 2015, a couple of days after Christmas, his son Rhett was at the end of his driveway on an ATV when that ATV flipped over, and Rhett unfortunately died at the scene there. The community of McGregor, however, has rallied around this family and said, we want to do something in Rhett's honor for his legacy to live on. So what they created was called the Rhett Revolution. So the Rhett Revolution is a movement that was sparked by his tragic death, where people all around the community do acts of kindness for others. And so on the first stage booster of this rocket, there are two stages, a first and a second stage booster. On the first stage booster, so that's the first one that will come off of this rocket about 2 minutes up into flight. There is a sticker that the Herring family was invited to put on the first stage booster by SpaceX, and it says Rhett Revolution. So when this rocket launches at 11:30 Central back home, about 8 minutes later, that first stage booster, basically it's going to fly up into the air and then flip around and then come back down in a controlled landing on land. And SpaceX is hopeful that they can go over to this booster, somehow retrieve that sticker and bring the sticker back to where it all started, where the revolution all started, in the city of McGregor. The Herring family is here, as you mentioned, with me. They got to tour the facility today, and they've really just said this is such a special way that SpaceX and the entire community is supporting them in a time that's very, very difficult for them. Lorna Herring told me that tomorrow would be is the 11-year anniversary of Rhett starting kindergarten. So she said this launch just is extra special for this family.
I'm going to ask Julie, how is the family doing? Because this is an amazing thing that they're going to be a part of tomorrow.
Absolutely. And Keisha, coming up on the morning show tomorrow, I'm going to show you the McGregor community got together and sent a surprise for Lorna and Jimmy Herring, and it brought them to tears. And I'll be showing you that coming up on the morning show, and that's going to start at 6 o'clock. So I will see you guys then. So reporting live from NASA, I'm Julie Hayes.
All right, thank you so much for staying with us right now. We have a very special segment coming up for you right now. In just hours, a rocket that was tested here in McGregor is going to launch from the Kennedy Space Center, and it has a very special local tie. Let's bring in Julie Hayes, who is live from the launch site with a look at this local tie. Good morning, Julie.
Good morning, Pete. In T-minus 5 hours, this Falcon 9 rocket that's just to my left right here that was tested at the facility in McGregor will be blasting off from here at Cape Canaveral. But there is much more to this mission than the 6,500 pounds of research and cargo that will soon be headed to the International Space Station. All is quiet Sunday at the launch site here at the Kennedy Space Center in Florida. About the only noise is the sound of reporters here gearing up for the Falcon 9 launch at 12:31 Eastern today.
I think we're just about getting ready to load all of our late load cargo into Dragon.
This is the 11th launch by SpaceX so far this year. All of the rockets tested at the facility in McGregor.
Community has been great. We get great help there. We have workers there. We have people living there. So for us, it's perfect.
But when this rocket takes off, it'll be carrying even greater meaning for the mayor of the town where the testing takes place. McGregor Mayor Jimmy Herring and his wife Lorna lost their son Rhett a few days after Christmas in 2015 when his ATV flipped over at the end of his driveway. His death sparked a movement of spreading acts of kindness called the Rhett Revolution. To honor his legacy, SpaceX invited the Herring family to place a Rhett Revolution sticker on the rocket's first stage booster before it left the McGregor facility. Today, that message of love is headed to outer space.
From a tragedy, something really cool, and it means a lot to us, and I hope that we can use a moment, an event like this, to keep alive Rhett's legacy, which was really about helping and doing good things for people in need and spreading love.
Rhett's mom said her son, who started kindergarten 11 years ago today, always wanted to be an astronaut, making today's launch even more special.
It's just kind of neat that 11 years ago he was here and we had such a big promise, and though he's not here on that anniversary, he's going to space, and there's such a big part of him left here, and the promise, some of those promises are still alive.
That first stage booster, Pete, that has the Rhett Revolution sticker on it will separate from the rocket about 2 minutes into flight. And this is the amazing part. About 8 minutes later, it's going to land back here at Cape Canaveral. SpaceX is hoping to be able to take Jimmy and Lorna Herring over to see that first stage booster. And if they can, if everything goes as planned, they hope to retrieve that sticker, which started in McGregor, made its way here to Florida, went to space, came back down, and if everything goes as planned, we'll head back to where it all started in McGregor, Texas. We will have live coverage throughout the day. We've provided a link on Kwtx.com where you can watch several different angles through SpaceX of this Falcon 9 rocket when it launches at 11:31 exactly their Central Time. And we will have live coverage also starting at noon, 5, 6, and 10 o'clock here from Cape Canaveral. Reporting live from the Kennedy Space Center, I'm Julie Hayes. Pete, back to you.
Thanks so much, Julie. Great to know that his legacy not only lives on here, but it will live on with that launch into space. Real special stuff. Thanks. Today is a very special day for a McGregor family whose son died 2 years ago in an ATV accident. Just 30 minutes ago, we covered it live. You're looking at it, the launch of a Falcon 9 rocket at the Kennedy Space Center in Florida. On board was a Rhett Revolution sticker. Now, that's a sticker honoring the McGregor teen Rhett Herring, who died 2 years ago. Julie Hayes landed in Florida early Saturday and has been covering this special tribute. She's actually been by the side of Rhett's parents for most of it. Julie, an exciting, emotional day. You had a front row seat. What was it like?
Yeah, lots of different emotions here, Pete, no doubt about it. It was just over 30 minutes ago that the Falcon 9 rocket tested at the McGregor facility. So if you've ever felt those rumblings and wondered what the heck are they doing out there, they're testing the rockets that then come right here over my shoulder. That is the very historic pad 39A. That's the same pad that launched the first man to the moon. So pretty amazing stuff right there. So that Falcon 9 rocket launched right at 11:31 your time, 12:31 here in the hot and humid state of Florida. Pete, it was an amazing thing for a lot of reasons. You mentioned Rhett Herring. Rhett Herring was a 15-year-old from the McGregor area. He went to McGregor High School as a freshman, popular. He was the quarterback of the football team, president of his school class. And there is a sticker. It is a Rhett Revolution sticker that is on the first stage booster of that rocket. We actually had the chance to see that first stage booster about 8 minutes after takeoff make its way back to land. And SpaceX is hoping that they'll be able to take the family over there, possibly retrieve that sticker and send it home with them to McGregor. Now, I do have some video that we were able to spend some time with Lorna and Jimmy Herring late last night. They were on a private tour that SpaceX had set up for them. And when they arrived to the hangar, they walked into a giant banner that said "Fly High Rhett Jet, #Mission Rhett Revolution." This was a banner that the McGregor High School principal, Seth Fortenberry, got together with the cheerleaders there and made for Jimmy and Lorna Herring, and they were shocked. In fact, they were moved to tears. Here's what they had to say about it.
I said, "Look, Jimmy, at the sign." So many of those kids are just like family to us. We love them. They loved Rhett.
We see the Fly High Rhett Jet sign. It's amazing. It really is. As we kind of talked a little bit last night, it's from a tragedy, something really cool, and it means a lot to us. And I hope that we can use a moment, an event like this, to keep alive Rhett's legacy, which was really about helping and doing good things for people in need and spreading love, kindness, grace.
Pete, I have to tell you, when that rocket took off, all I could think about was the Rhett Revolution and the love of this young boy whose life was tragically taken way too soon. As soon as that rocket took off, as soon as the first stage booster came back down, so about 10 minutes after, I looked down and I had a FaceTime phone call, and it was from Lorna and Jimmy Herring, who were watching just about half a mile away from me in a private viewing area. Of course, I answered that call. Both of them were in tears, telling me that it was just such an emotional moment to know that Rhett finally made it to space. They said Rhett always wanted to be an astronaut growing up, and today actually marked the 11 years ago today that Rhett started kindergarten. So Lorna and Jimmy moved to tears, saying it was just such an honor for SpaceX to send this rocket into space, which is now carrying 6,500 pounds of well-needed research and cargo, food, anything you can think of probably, to the International Space Station. That rocket is docking with the International Space Station, and it will come back in just about a little over 30 days back here to Earth. So we will have much more for you coming up on News 10 at 5, 6, and 10 o'clock. Clint and I are expecting to meet up with Lorna and Jimmy Herring and talk with them more about the launch, and we also may have the opportunity to go check out that first stage booster that has made its way back to land. That doesn't happen very often. We're waiting to see if it does happen for us. Of course, if we get that, we'll be bringing it to you on News 10 at 5, 6, and 10, and you can follow us online at kwtx.com as well as our social media pages. Reporting live from Cape Canaveral at the Kennedy Space Center, I'm Julie Hayes. Pete, back to you.
All right, thank you so much, Julie. Special stuff right there.
A Falcon 9 rocket loaded with cargo for the International Space Station is on its way this evening. The rocket launched just before 11:30 from the Kennedy Space Center earlier today.
Very cool. That rocket took a special tribute to space for a local teen killed in an accident. Our own News 10's Julie Hayes joins us now live from the launch site at Cape Canaveral with more. Julie.
Hi, Tara. Hi, Justin. It was an amazing sight here at 11:31 a.m. your time, just over my shoulder at this historic launch pad 39A. This is the same pad, by the way, that sent the first man into the moon. SpaceX had a Falcon 9 rocket that they launched from that exact location. This was the scene as that Falcon 9 rocket tested at the facility in McGregor took off, and it really happened, guys, without a hitch. There was sound of cheering fans, but that Falcon 9 blasted off with a very special tribute to McGregor teenager Rhett Herring. Rhett died in 2015 in an ATV accident at the end of his driveway. SpaceX then invited the Herring family to place a Rhett Revolution sticker, that's the name given to the movement to spread kindness sparked by the teenager's death, on the Stage 1 booster of this rocket. The Stage 1 booster, where the sticker is, separated from that rocket about 2 minutes after flight and then successfully landed about 8 minutes later back on land.
It was really emotional to see it go up and to know what we know now about rockets, but Rhett was on it.
Yeah, a special moment for you.
And that he was going to get to go to space, Rhett Jet being an astronaut. It was so much more emotional than I expected.
Yeah, truly amazing to watch this rocket go up, the fire. Feel it, to hear it, and then 7 minutes later watch it come back down, and now we're sitting here waiting in excitement, waiting to see if at some point if that piece of that Rhett Revolution sticker made it back.
That was the mayor of McGregor, Jimmy Herring, and his wife, Lorna Herring. And what Jimmy was referring to was wanting to know if that Rhett Revolution sticker that was on the Stage 1 booster, we had been told that Stage 1 landed successfully, but they want to know, what about that small sticker on that very large booster? What happened to it? KWTX got the very exclusive opportunity to go over to the landing site, which is many miles from where the rocket took off, the original Falcon 9 took off, to see what exactly did happen to that sticker. We were right with Lorna and Jimmy Herring. It was a very emotional moment. In fact, both the mayor and his wife, it brought them to tears. And we'll be showing you that coming up on News 10 at 6. Reporting live from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida, I'm Julie Hayes. Guys, back to you.
What a lovely tribute. And oddly enough, my kids asked last night, what happens to this sticker?
And now we know what's going to be happening. We're going to be finding out here in a little bit. And emotional for everybody who's been following this special family and community for sure.
There's a rocket that was tested at SpaceX in McGregor that's on its way to the International Space Station right now. The Falcon 9 launched just hours ago from Kennedy Space Center in Florida.
And when it took off, it left with a tribute to a local teen killed in an ATV accident back in 2015. News 10's Julie Hayes joins us now live from the launch site in Florida. Julie, what a touching tribute.
Absolutely, Taryn Gordon. A very emotional day here at the Kennedy Space Center, where at 11:31 your time, a Falcon 9 rocket that was actually tested at the McGregor facility launched from this very historic launch pad. This is pad 39A. That's the very same launch pad that took the first man to the moon. And when that mission left today, it was carrying a very special tribute to 15-year-old Rhett Herring. Rhett's death in an ATV accident in 2015 sparked a community-wide effort of spreading kindness to others called the Rhett Revolution. To honor the teenager, SpaceX invited the Herring family to McGregor, to their facility there, to place a Rhett Revolution sticker on the Stage 1 booster of the rocket. When it blasted off today, the plan was to land the first stage booster, which, by the way, separates from that rocket about 2 minutes into flight, back on land about 8 minutes after takeoff. Here is some very exclusive video that you will not see anywhere else. We were invited by SpaceX to go to the landing site of the booster alongside Jimmy and Lorna Herring late today, where we all learned that the booster had landed safely back at home, perfectly, in fact, just 4 feet from the exact location that they were shooting for. It's actually truly remarkable. SpaceX says they believe the sticker may also have made it back just fine, saying this is probably their best launch day so far.
An amazing day, accomplished by a group of amazing people at SpaceX to not only to pull off what they do on a regular basis now, but to allow us to be a part of it. Just amazing, unbelievable.
Just really, it does make you speechless that Red Jet went to space, and it looks like maybe he came back, and the sticker will be able to be seen in a couple days. It's just all kind of overwhelming.
It really is. It was such a moment to be there with Jimmy and Lorna Herring when we were able to see that first stage booster that had literally been to space and just returned. Now SpaceX officials are saying that they did get a glimpse at that sticker. They do think it's just fine. And if they're able to get it back to the McGregor facility, which they don't see a problem with, it's right on the first stage booster on the door. They can't exactly take the door off of the first stage booster, but they're going to find a way to be able to get that Rhett Revolution sticker back to the Herring and back to where the revolution all started, in the city of McGregor. I'll have much more coming up on CW at 9 and also on KWTX at 10 o'clock. Reporting live from the Kennedy Space Center at Cape Canaveral, I'm Julie Hayes. Guys, back to you.
All right, we're looking forward to that, Julie. Thanks.
Good evening. Tonight, 6,500 pounds of cargo is headed to the International Space Station. The Falcon 9 rocket, tested in McGregor, launched at 11:31 this morning.
When it left Earth, it took with it a special tribute to a local teen. Julie Hayes joins us now live from the Kennedy Space Center as she wraps up her live coverage from Florida. Julie.
Good evening, guys. An amazing weekend here in Florida as SpaceX honored 15-year-old Rhett Herring. The mission Rhett Revolution has officially made its way to space and back.
3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff of the Falcon 9.
It was a launch that went off without a hitch.
You are watching the Falcon 9 rocket carrying the Dragon spacecraft as it ascends through the atmosphere en route to the International Space Station after a successful liftoff from Kennedy Space Center in Florida.
This rocket, launched in Florida today, was tested at SpaceX in McGregor. NASA said without the Central Texas facility, today's picture-perfect launch would not have happened.
Superb day. Just a very important factor of taking all those engines and all that testing that they do at McGregor. So we thank you guys very much for that.
But in the midst of the crowd's cheers were tears as the McGregor mayor and his wife, Lorna, watched the spacecraft leave Earth carrying a very special tribute to their late son, Rhett.
It was really emotional to see it go up and to know what we know now about rockets, but Rhett was on it.
Yeah, a special moment for you.
And that he was going to get to go to space, Red Jet being an astronaut.
SpaceX placed a Rhett Revolution sticker on the Stage 1 booster of the rocket. Rhett Revolution was the name given to a movement to spread acts of kindness sparked by the death of their son. And as the world watched,
And as you can see, the main engines have cut off from the first stage, and we have confirmation of a successful separation.
the Stage 1 booster separated from the rocket about 2 minutes into flight. SpaceX then successfully landed the booster about 11 miles away. And when they did, they invited Lorna and Jimmy for a very rare look at the booster.
Really speechless, I think. This kind of culminates an incredible day, actually 2 days that we've had. But to see the booster and to have maybe some idea of whether the sticker came back or not, blown away.
Really, it does make you speechless that Red Jet went to space, and it looks like maybe he came back.
The booster landed an amazing 4 feet from the exact target location, but that came as no surprise to Rhett's parents.
Rhett was always a great target.
Yeah, he was
always.
a good shot.
He was a great shot with his bow and arrow and all things, so it doesn't surprise us that it landed
right where
it was supposed to.
As for that sticker, SpaceX says they have seen a glimpse of it after it landed back here at the Kennedy Space Center, but they say it'll be a few days before they're able to climb up there and get a good look at it in the booster. If all goes as planned, they plan on returning that sticker to where the revolution all started, in the city of McGregor. Reporting live from the Kennedy Space Center, I'm Julie Hayes. Gordon, Tara.
All right, thank you, Julie.